Am I the a-hole for calling my wife unreasonable for backing out of spending Christmas with my family after my mother rejected her cookie sample? Context: for every holiday, my mother would ask the women in the family, my sisters, sister-in-law, my wife, my female cousins, to send samples of the desserts they planned to bring to the celebration for testing and to see if these desserts could make it to the food menu. My wife has been complaining about my mother deliberately rejecting every dessert sample she sent. So many times, my mother has told her that she is being honest and keeping the guests' best interest at heart. Yet my wife still thought that my mother is deliberately excluding her, since 2 of her dessert samples were rejected before. For this year's Christmas, my mother is doing the same thing, but this time, she told every woman who are participating to make a cookie sample and send it to her for testing. My wife took it as a challenge, and to be honest, she worked really hard to make a good sample and sent it to my mother days ago, and the results just came in yesterday. I came home from work and found my wife upset. I asked what's wrong, and she told me that my mother rejected the sample she sent and decided to exclude her baking from the food list menu for Christmas this year. I didn't know what to say, but she then told me she was backing out of the invitation to attend Christmas with my family. I was stunned when I heard her make this statement. I tried to talk to her, but she said it was done. I called her unreasonable to decide to bail on the whole family over some cookie sample. That's just freaking crazy, and quite unreasonable. We had a full-on argument about it, and she stated that my mother caused this, but I told her that my mother is pretty serious and careful about the food she offers to the guests, since we are going to have relatives coming from all sides of country. She told me to stop mentioning it. Later, I heard her cry, despite telling her that her baking is amazing and people have preferences that's all AITA, for insisting that her decision was unreasonable. Info 2. If you're asking whose cookie sample made it to the menu, the answer is my sister and my 2 cousins. Info: few things to put on here. My wife wasn't the only one whose sample was rejected. We have Syl's brother's wife and my younger sisters. My mother did not force anyone to participate. It was up to whoever wanted to take part. It is just about the dessert, since my mother tends to be very careful in this category, but for other types of foods, dishes, appetizers, salads, stuff like that is welcome, as she stated. 2. I think in this scenario you are the a-hole, my friend. Instead of reasoning with your wife, you should have confronted your mother and asked her the reason for her rejection. I mean, not every time her cookies can turn out bad, right? To me, it clearly seems like she doesn't like her and taking it out on her cookies. Viewers, what do you think? Please comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this. Oh, there is also an update. Great. So I just got off the phone with my brother, and he told me that his wife is doing the same thing as my wife, and that she has decided to back out of the invitation to spend Christmas with family as well. Turns out my wife must have told her about her decision, and she decided to follow her lead. My brother is pissed, saying my wife is encouraging his wife to do this. I see that the problem has just gotten bigger now. Who knows, my younger sister might join in and decide not to go as well. I don't know how this got out of control so quickly. I guess we'll try to have a discussion with my mother about this soon and see how it goes. Am I the a-hole for teaching my 20 niece, Quattro to say, Il chupacabra? When her mom, 32F, says, you know what really gets my goat? Context. Basically title, I guess. My sister has a habit of saying, you know what really gets my goat? She probably says it 7/8 times a day. So, like that Tumblr post, I taught my niece to say El Chupacabra when her mum says it, too. It sounds more like a supercaba though, cause she's 4, but it's adorable. I told my niece it was a monster from Mexico that eats goats, and she didn't seem scared or anything, probably cause the only monster she knows is Cookie Monster. But apparently now my niece walks around the house saying Il Chupacabra all day, and now my sister and brother-in-law are mad at me for teaching her this, but it's kind of adorable and also harmless. But like she's my sister's kid, so IDK LOL, this is so funny. Well, in my opinion, you are not the a-hole, dear. I mean, this is what kids do. They learn something new, and if they find it's cool, they keeps repeating themselves. But I also understand how this might get on your sister's nerve. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife I hate her for escaping Context: recently my wife has taken to fridgescaping. I guess it's a recent trend because I'd never heard about it before this. She started decorating our fridge and it was really getting on my nerves. For example, she put flowers in the fridge, in vases, in front of food, so you have to move things just to get to the food. She put all our food in fancy baskets, jars, and similar things. I know it sounds absurd, but if you just search up fridgescaping ULL, see what I am talking about. I didn't care at first because I don't have to use the fridge much anyways. I don't cook a lot. But she's getting too meticulous with it and adding too much decor. It's made the fridge very uninviting for me. She gets upset when I get something from the fridge and don't put things back perfectly. She keeps taking it as a personal slight and acts like I've done something to deliberately hurt her. When I haven't, I just find it unnecessary to maintain such an organized fridge. Before she started this, it would take me 30 seconds to grab something quick from the fridge, whereas now it's a whole ordeal. Last weekend she confronted me after I grabbed some leftovers from the fridge and left it in disarray. According to her, I explained how I find the hobby stupid and she can decorate other things. It doesn't have to be the fridge. It gets in the way when I want to quickly eat. When I come home from work hungry and tired and want to grab a quick bite, it's frustrating. Talk. I also talked to my son about it, and he finds it annoying, which I told her. She didn't argue back after that, and she's removed all of the decorations from the fridge, which I have to admit has been relieving. But she's also been acting very distant towards me and just hasn't been herself, and has been weird intimacy-wise. This is kinda tough. I understand where you are coming from, but instead of calling it dumb or stupid and hurting her feelings, you could have presented it more politely, like letting her know it is not practical, and it bothers you to move things around. Just get something out or put into the fridge. But I am still gonna rule that you are not the a-hole. I would still get irritated with this if I were in your place. Viewers, what is your opinion on this? Please comment down below so I can read them. AITA for this. Am I the a-hole for causing a scene and leaving a free vacation over the way my daughter was being treated? Context: my brother, Nate, and his wife Jen invited me and my daughter, Maddie 10, to go on vacation with them and their kids, Laura 12 and Danny 9. Nate and Jen are extremely well off. They both have high-paying jobs and earn around $350,000 between them. Maddie and I are middle class. I own a small house and Maddie goes to a private school. Maddie has a good life, but it doesn't compare to her cousins. My brother and Jen rented a house for us and paid for the rental, all of the food, and all of the activities. The only thing I paid for was gas when driving myself and Maddie to the house. Tease. I also have to say Nate and I get along very well, but I have a great relationship with Jen, mostly because of how they are with the kids. Nate tells the kids they don't have to be nice to anyone, never encourages them to share their toys, and doesn't discipline his kids. Jen is the opposite. She constantly tells the kids to share with their cousins and will punish them if they being rude to the other kids or adults. Now to the vacation. They rented a 3-bedroom house. Nate and Jen had the master bedroom. I had the second bedroom with a double bed. And all of the kids were going to share a room with 2 bunk beds, 4 beds. The first night was pretty rough. The kids brought tons of toys but refused to let Maddie play with them. Jen came in and told them that before they left she told them they have to share their toys, so they either share or she takes them away. They were a little rude but mostly fine the rest of the night. The second night, Jen went out to dinner with an old friend, and Nate and I were home with the kids. We were getting the kids ready for bed, and an argument broke out between the kids, because Laura and Danny decided they want to share with Maddie, and told her to sleep on the couch. I expected Nate to tell them that the bedroom was for all of the kids, but he told Maddie that she either has to sleep with me or on the couch. I asked if he was serious, and he said yes, and that his kids weren't comfortable sharing with Maddie, and since he paid for the house, he has a right to kick Maddie out of the room. I told Maddie to get her bag, and that if she doesn't have a bed, we're going home. Maybe an hour after we left, Jen came back and asked why Maddie and I left. I told her what happened and she asked me to come back and promised that she'd take care of her husband and the kids because she wants her kids to have a good relationship with their cousins. I said no, and shortly after we got home, I got a call from my brother yelling at me for causing a scene, creating problems between him and his wife, and being ungrateful for a free vacation. He got our parents involved and they agreeing that it's a free vacation and I can be picky. AITA for leaving with Maddie. My dear, you did not need our validation to confirm that you are not the a-hole. It's your brother that is the a-hole here. I mean, how can you be so cruel to a child and treat them based on their parents' income? Also the grandparents. Come on, I have seen many grandparents like this who will favor one of their child over than other based on income, and also do this to the grandchildren. It breaks my heart. Guy, share your opinion on this. Have you ever faced something like this in your life? The a-hole for dropping a child off because I was lied to about my pay. I 21 female, work as a babysitter nanny, while I finish my credits for my early child education. I'm very well known in my area, and am professional, and have different hats for myself. I get multiple jobs a week. I don't normally babysit for family, but I agreed to a few days ago. The child was 4, and with that age I usually charge $15 an hour, $200 a day. For this particular family member, I agreed to do it for $150 a day. It was 2 hours in, and my relative told me she could only pay me $50 to $80, and that she hoped I understood. I told her I didn't understand, because I told her up front already, and that I even lowered my rate for her. This is what I live off of. I missed out on other opportunities that would pay way more, so I can't have her lowball me. She began ignoring me, so I told her if she continued I would drop her off at another relative's. She continued to ignore me, so I dropped her off at this relative's sister's house, who agreed to watch her. Within a few minutes I got a text saying how unprofessional I was, and how dare I do that she's family and I was being extremely selfish. This is how I make money for a living, and I gave her multiple warnings and we agreed on a price beforehand. I think that your family relative here was being selfish, and it was very unethical to try to underpay you when you already let them know about your fees up front. You are not the a-hole. I also appreciate that you made sure the child is in safe place and not just leave them alone. Viewers, do you agree with my ruling? Let me know down below the comment section.